So Byron, if you have the ear of someone who's new to ministry, or maybe they're in a new role, what would you say to them right now? What can help prepare them for the days that are coming? That, those first few months of ministry is
Yeah.
kind of like the honeymoon phase. They're
Yeah,
all
it's true.
excited. You get
Yeah.
into a year and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I know these people, getting
Yeah.
into a rhythm.
Yeah.
18 months and 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years is where the wall hits, where you're like, I have
Yeah.
credibility or I don't.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
then what? Like, can
You're
you
right.
prepare them for those
Yeah.
first 24 months?
Yeah, I always tell, and I, it's somewhat facetious, and I don't mean to be ugly at all to a new ministry leader, but I always tap them on the shoulder and just say, hey, you'll be a lot better off in a year. And there's a lot to do in this space. There's a lot to do in ministry. But, when you've been called to ministry, it's a precious thing. You need to protect that. I think there's a number of things that we could talk about. But the idea or the thought that really comes to my mind, we're not good at this. We need to be better at being transparent and more. Sometimes Christian leaders are a little quiet, a little laid back, maybe too humble. I don't know. But, to pick up the phone and to call a ministry leader across town from a like-minded church, a Nazarene church, a Baptist church, a Methodist church, Presbyterian church, and simply say, hey, I'm new to ministry. And I can tell by reading your bio on the website, man, you've been doing this a long time. Could we get together? Could we have coffee? Could we meet somewhere at the church, coffee house, whatever? I just have a bunch of questions. Majority of people like myself who's been in this for a long time, I give a lot of space to spend time with young ministry leaders. And so what happens is we don't do that. And that new ministry leader, you're really asking that person to read books, articles, blogs, somewhat they do, self-study, right? Or go to conferences. There are less conferences going on. This is certainly one of the best in the nation. It costs money, but to pick up the phone and just say, hey, can I come by? I don't know if people are fearful of getting shut down or just being vulnerable, or maybe they don't really know what to ask. But if you're talking to a ministry veteran, he or she, they know the questions that you ought to be asking. And so today I did talk about it's very important to be asking questions when you begin new work, new church, why we do it this way, how did we get here, who are the big stakeholders. So those are important questions to be asking from those in your faith community, your church.
How about the deacons? What about the lead pastor if they've hired someone under them? How can the leadership in the church insulate their leaders and help them as they're beginning in ministry?
Wow. Really, really, really good question. Well, number one, I think, you really hope that you got the right hire. Number two, I think, again, if we're talking specifically children's family ministry, to really look at what has been done before you got there and to begin to evaluate everything from the people, the programming, the mission, vision statement, and really staying true and aligned as best with the senior leadership, the senior pastor, the elders, the deacons. And I think so many times young ministry, or I don't really want to say young ministry leaders,
Right.
just new ministry leaders come in, and it's either we want to change too quickly or we need to change, but we can't. We don't feel like we can yet. So really having, I think, an open door conversation with either the executive pastor, the senior pastor, where you're really keeping that person informed of what you're doing this month, what you're doing next month, what you hope to do in the next couple of months. So it's really a line of communication.